Hi, everyone. This is Jen Peachman, your Mortgage Innovators Ambassador for 2023. I'm super excited to have three of my friends joining me today, all leaders at IMBs from all across the country. I'm super excited to have Paul Campbell, EVP of Kwik Mortgage, joining me today, Jim Janczy, President of NewFed Mortgage, and Shane Erskine, President at OneTrust Home Loans. Hey, fellas, how you doing?
Jen, how are you today?
I'm great. Thanks so much for joining me. Today's call is going to be super easy. I just wanted to get you all together to talk about some topics that I think both the viewers as well as you guys can have benefit from in collaborating together. We know it's been a tough year. We know that the Mortgage Innovators Conference is really focused on uniting lenders and vendors in our industry and really bringing them together to innovate going forward this year and beyond. So some folks are kind of getting back to the basics. I've heard that story. Some folks are, doubling down on efficiencies, recruiting, training. Some folks are kind of eliminating vendor partners, switching up their tech stacks. Others are doubling down with some of their partnerships that they've formed. So what are you prioritizing in your innovation strategy? I'm going to turn it over to you, Shane, and then I'll hit the rest of the group.
Yeah, thanks, Jen. So, we're not getting rid of any of our vendors currently. We are, however, looking at deeper integrations in refining the processes that we have with our current vendor list. What functionalities, we're not using with them and we should be using as part of the services that they offer. Now, how do we ultimately get more from the relationship? In general, our focus has been on efficiency and cost, and that hasn't changed this year. And that goes for all of the organization, whether it's in the workflow operations or, accounting, technology, ultimately removing and reducing clicks. So we're analyzing all of our dev work, as I'm sure most are, making sure that we prioritize what is going to have the biggest impact and probably not doing as many of the nice to have projects as we did in the past. I would say in addition to that, over the past couple of years, we've been focused on integrating true AI in our business. So this goes from, business analytics to workflow. How do we get quick and actionable data at our team's disposal? It also helps a lot with our training, new teams coming on, and just general scale of the organization as a whole. So that's really been our focus, and will continue to be our focus this year.
Excellent. Lots of stuff, all good things to focus on, Shane. Thanks for sharing. Paul, tell me, what are you prioritizing over at Kwik Mortgage as part of your innovation strategy?
Jen, what we're doing is we're really taking a bird's eye view of our tech, and we're getting it down to like the vital few, right? What's going to make our system, our platform extremely efficient? What's going to make it speedy, fast? And how can we make sure we focus on the customer? Because, there's fewer customers out there in the marketplace. So those customers that you do have, you have to do an amazing job with. So when we look at it, I'm kind of drilling down on like, what dashboard can I put in enterprise-wide that will give us that view, that captain's view, if you will, so we can make sure that we are tracking all the way through the system, as well as being able to look at the back end too. I think oftentimes when we think of innovation, we probably think of it like, how can I get more loans up front? But there's a lot going on when you think about the back end. And so when I'm talking about your financial accounting, such as we use a system called Loan Vision, but when you look at it like, what is your model? And I think we get a little bit off track with how we're modeling our business, simply because you get a refinance boom and voila, you have more loans than you can fulfill. And then you get into a tight market like now, and you have more people than you do loans. So getting to that modeling and making sure that you have a financial model, a business model that actually is impactful during lean times as well as boom times, and understanding what are you going to do in your platform to be able to make sure that when you do get into a boom time, that business can be handled, be it offshoring, if you will, And along the way, building your artificial intelligence and your bots to the point to where a lot of manual processes are gone, such as setup. I mean, that's really big when your loan officers are out there on your front end LOS or point of sale. If you can put a loan through and have it set up automatically or with automation, I think that really knocks down some heads as well as flow. So we're just kind of looking at it from a tech stack, and then our model, like I said, like how many loan officers is enough loan officers, how much production is enough production. We never say enough, but where is the sweet spot so we know how to take next level actions to make sure we can handle overflow, or next level actions to make sure when we don't have a ton of volume that we're in great shape financially.
Insightful stuff. Thanks, Paul. Jim, tell me a little bit at NewFed, what are you prioritizing in your innovation strategy?
So this is what happens when you go last, right? I guess these guys steal my thunder.
We'll switch it up next time, I promise.
I agree with everything Shane and Paul said. You know, our approach, my approach has really been, I came in September as president. Probably, it's not my fault, but I feel like since I started in September, our volume has decreased every single month since I've been here, right, with what's happened since September. But really, it's actually allowed us to focus really on just the basics. And for us, it's just driving my cost per loan down. And everything Shane and Paul had said. We just implemented AI ourselves. A great story with AI, we were going through our test case, our test batch, and the very first, ironically enough, file that we had put through, it coded an error for miscalculation of income. So we had done this on a file that was already, we thought had closed. Come to find out, the file was closing the very next day. So we were able to save it. So with that alone right there, it was just pretty amazing. So I think as we go down cost per loan, we can talk about ops and sales and even LO comp, to be honest with you. You know, revisiting LO comp, now is a good time for us to revisit. And, you know, we hear it all the time, LO's pricing is not competitive. We all pretty close to the same price, I think. Where's the LO comp fall in? So we've kind of taken a look at our contracts, including LO comp, including vendors. We've put a lot of effort and resources into more of a robust data reporting, just personally, and what we've had at NewFed probably did not allow us for our growth, and it really is able to drill down. So we're using Nexus Vision at this point, which for us, it's just going to help us with our capacity models. Again, everything driving that cost per loan down. So it's working so far.
Good news. Well, since you went last on the first question, you get to go first on the second question, Jim. So I think, you know, it's all about culture and building that environment where collaboration and innovation can happen within your organization. So how do you foster that environment at NewFed? Since you're there since September, what have you done and what do you want to plan to continue to?
Yeah, you know, we've invested a lot, and obviously in our tech, and we have a very strong group of individuals in our IT department who I think are really at the forefront of helping build that cost per loan down through technology, through innovation. For us personally, I think it's just collaboration with each department, quite frankly, because I don't know everything. I won't know everything. But just even asking, you know, in group sessions, whether it's on our ops team or sales team, and just bringing it up on weekly or bi-weekly meetings for us is just to get a pulse of what are you seeing out there. So, and just ideas, honestly, for me, it's all about collaborating, like the Mortgage Collaborative.
Paul, let me ask you, how are you fostering an environment of innovation at Kwik? What's the secret sauce over there?
You know, the secret sauce is we have daily meetings, huddles is what we call them. And we do in the huddles with each individual department where we drill down and find out, you know, what's the status of the loans, not necessarily just the status of the loans, but how are you as an employee, what's going on in your life, how do you feel? And then what can we do to make your job, your function more efficient and better for you? So when you start talking like that on a daily basis in huddles, you start seeing where there's opportunities to improve on your platform. as well as then we have a bi-monthly all-up meeting. And again, it's those key departments, we bring them in and we ask them the same things. Just look, this is our status, this is where we are. Of course, you're being efficient, but then what's going on in your department, and then where do you see where we can improve? So having that type of a culture, if you will, built on performance management and improvement, it gives the people a voice to speak. So I think that's how we handle a culture. And then we've just got some really dynamite managers that know what they're doing. So if they're looking at OB, or if they're looking at Encompass, or if they're looking at Blend, they're full of ideas. And we have a contractor that on the tech side that we stay in lockstep with, and we have meetings on a weekly basis.
Love it. So people, communication, brainstorming. Shane, how do you foster an environment of innovation at OneTrust Home Loans?
Yeah, I would say definitely, some of the points these gentlemen touched on here, but one of our core values is innovation. So it starts with, day one, with a new team member comes on board, they're being introduced to the organization and the innovation component to it. We have a 24/7 recommendations board that all team members in the organization have access to on ideas to innovate. So these suggestions that come in, they go directly to the entire management team in the organization, and they're, talk about new ideas, improvement for processes, all different things that come into this to this board. And then we talk about these in our management huddles. And then also we host a quarterly town hall event with everybody in the organization, and we incorporate the recommendation tickets into the town hall. We do a raffle for everybody that submits a recommendation request, regardless if the idea is implemented or not. But there's really some great prizes that come out of there. So we're talking about it. We also meet with our branch teams on a regular basis to share some of the new ideas that they have, things that we're working on from an organizational level, if they feel that it's going to be, how the impact would be to them, if they feel it's beneficial or not. And then we track a lot of this on the things that we do through data analytics. We use a platform, the Power BI platform, and we track this. So we know what we're doing, what the benefit of these things are, through data and making data-driven decisions. But our team as well, we've got a lot of smart folks that are involved in this and ways to innovate. And the ideas that come in, we've probably had over 300 different ideas come in year to date. And, there's some fantastic ideas. So a lot of what we do, comes from our team.
I love that. I love that you've created a platform and are rewarding your employees for participating. So many companies I've worked at where, it's an employee's idea that saves, who knows how much money, or really saves, time and hours. And it's, I think it's like you all said, it's connecting those teams, giving them the platform to voice their ideas. And really, I like to your point, Shane, innovation is part of your culture. That's incredible. So I know this year's been tough. No shying away from that. I'm just kind of asking you guys, what are your goals for this year? And what are you looking forward to next year? I'm going to start with Paul first. So Paul, tell me, what's your biggest goals for the rest of 2023 and what's on the horizon for 24?
For 2023, investing in retail growth, and that's sales. That's branches in our footprint. We're in 27 states, pretty much active in 24 of them. And we've done really well with the consumer direct platform. That's not doing bad now. So perfecting that, of course, is an ongoing process. But at the same token, though, we haven't really had a substantial sales force outside of our footprint, our home state footprint, which is in New Jersey. So that's something that we're really getting after it. As far as tech is concerned, I'm always looking at tech, which is amazing. If I'm at TMC or MBA or coming up secondary, whatever it is, I'm definitely talking to vendors to see what we can do with regard to tech, and then talking to our team to see how we can become more innovative. One of the strategies is definitely being able to reach out to the customer when we do get them on the line, pre-calling them, and then finding them the realtor so that we find them the house. So it's just an all-in-one package. I think that's important, and having the right loan officer with them to answer all their needs and giving the loan officer a cheat sheet, if you will, so that that customer support, that customer service gap is complete, because we want them to come back and we want them to stay with us throughout the process in the years to come.
Good stuff, Paul. Shane, what are your biggest goals for the rest of this year? I know you've been doing some diversification over there. And what's on the horizon for 2024?
Yeah, we're continuing to stay focused on the diversification. Obviously, growth in the down market is important. I think on the tech side of things, some of what I touched on already of creating the efficiencies while focusing on the consumer experience. We're always after ease of use for the consumer and transparency. So by integrating deeper with some of our vendors, we can deliver a better experience for the consumers. We do use Blend to try to keep them in there from point of sale through consummation, and bringing more value and through quicker conditions to borrowers through the platform and things like that. But most of really what we're looking at is ultimately comes down to the cost to produce a loan, and how we can continue to create the efficiencies to drive that cost down, ultimately improving the consumer experience.
Thanks, Shane. Cost per loan, that was on Jim's list earlier. So before we wrap up, Jim, I'm going to ask you, what are your biggest goals for the rest of this year, and what's on the horizon for next year?
Yeah, I think, for us, as Paul's in New Jersey, we're in Massachusetts. We're a Boston-based company, and cold New England winters make a market like this even worse, I think, than what we had. So I think for us, it was a lot of geographic diversity this year. So for the remaining part, we're about 23 states, 24. And our goal really is kind of filling in the spots on the East Coast, So that takes a lot of work, right? It takes a little bit of capital. So I think trying to manage the capital to growth in this year is going to be even more important. But looking forward to 24 is probably just reaping the benefits of what we've been doing this year, trying to maintain break even, and instead of a up and to the right structure, maybe a little up step, take the time, a little bit more training, corporate training for our LOs, just to have them ready for when I hope next year will be better.
Excellent. Well, fellas, I appreciate you so very much for joining me today. I've known some of you for many, many years. Others I just met recently. I really appreciate you joining us and talking to us a little bit about your innovation strategy, what's on your list for this year and beyond. We certainly appreciate your time and chatting about really how you're bringing your teams together, and how you're really, getting down to basics and drilling in with folks where you think it's appropriate to, I think, cost per loan, making things better, faster, and ultimately keeping that consumer experience in mind. That's what it's all about here. That's what we're doing, right? Is we're putting folks in houses. So thank you so very much. We are less than 2 months away from the Mortgage Innovators Conference. I hope you guys will check it out. We have sponsorships available. This is not just a California MBA thing, as evidenced by we're bringing in folks from all across the country here. So if you're interested, shoot me an email, jen@cmba.com. And fellas, thanks again. Have a wonderful day. I appreciate you so much. Bye.
Thanks for having us.
Have
a good day.